also the second tab on our tutor client. Now, teachers, when we say class table, this is where you will open your schedules, you will see your students, and you will join the classroom. All right. Now, let's start on this part here. Now, teachers, when it comes to the view of your class table, you can choose to look at it on a daily view, or if you want to look at it on a weekly view, then you may do so as well. Now, when you open your slots, all you need to do, teachers, is to click on class time setting. So once you're done with all of those tasks that your HR asks you to do, the personal data and the training courses, then your HR will activate this class time setting. Now, once this is already activated, then you may already open your own slots, okay? Now, when we open our slots, teachers, all you need to do is to click class time setting, choose the date and time that you want to teach. For example, for you, you can work or you can teach during the evening. So choose the time that you want to open. And then once you're done choosing all of those slots, then you may already click on submit. After you click submit, then automatically, teachers, it will open on your class table, just like what you're looking at right now. All right. Now, teachers, always remember that when we open our slots, you can open as early as 1 week before, or the latest going to be 12 hours before. Okay. All right. So next is we also have this autonomous cancellation. Now, teachers, this is what we click if ever you want to cancel some of your unbooked slots. Okay. Now, when we say unbooked, these are actually slots that are open, but still no students. Okay. Now, if you want to cancel these slots, you may do so. Just click on autonomous cancellation, choose the slots that you want to cancel, and click on submit. Okay. Now, once you cancel an unbooked slot, no worries, there will be no penalties, okay? The only time that you're going to receive a penalty for canceling classes would be if the slot is already booked by a student. Clear? All right. Now, let's go to these slots here. All right. So, let's start with the Monday slots. Now, if you notice, teachers, all of the slots on Monday, they're already grayed out, right? Now, once the slot is already grayed out, it means to say you're already done conducting these classes. You've completed all of these classes, okay? All right, good. Now, for those slots that are still blue, it means to say these are your upcoming classes or your open slots, okay? All right, great. Now let's move on to this unbooked slots. Now, teachers, once that on your slot, you can only see the start time and the end time of the class, it means to say this slot is still unbooked. Okay. Now, there's still a possibility that a student will book the slot. Okay. Now, once that you have an unbooked slot, just remember, refresh your class table at least 3 minutes before the start time. So, for example, for our first slot here, 5 p.m. to 5:25. So, since there is still no student here, then at least around 4:57, refresh your class table because we also have what we call sudden bookings. So there is also a possibility that your student will book your slot 3 to 5 minutes before it starts. Okay. So that is why make sure that you will refresh your class table 3 minutes before the start time once the slot is still unbooked. Okay. All right, good. Now, if ever that a student already booked your slot, then this is how it's going to look like. So there you will see what type of class is that. Is it going to be a VIP class or a trial class? And then, of course, we also have the name of the student and the start time and the end time of the class. Now, on this part here, this is where you could know what teaching platform you will be using. So if you see a green circle with a little bird on it, then that's going to be class in. And if you see a big green circle with a big letter A inside, then that's going to be a classroom. Okay. All right. Now, on your class table, teachers, you will also see this lock icon. All right. Now, there are multiple reasons why we have this lock icon. Number one is canceled class. Now, why do we say canceled class? For example, you have a few unbooked slots, and then you decided to cancel these slots using the autonomous cancellation. Now, once you do that, teachers, the slot that you've chosen to cancel, they will not be removed from your class table, but instead a lock icon will appear. Okay. Now, once a slot already has a lock icon on it, then no student can book the slot anymore. Clear? Perfect. Now, another reason is if ever that, something happened and you really need to cancel some of your booked slots, then unfortunately you cannot do it by yourself. Okay. Once the slot is already booked by a student, then you need to cancel them. You need to either talk to your TM or contact the CS. Okay. Now, once you are able to contact one of them, then they will cancel the slot for you. They will transfer the student to a different teacher, and then again, they will put a lock icon on the slot that you ask to cancel. All right. And again, teachers, once the slot is already locked, no student can book the slot. Okay. Now, there is still another reason for locked classes, okay? Now, if ever that you see a lock icon on your class table, but you didn't cancel any classes or you didn't request to cancel any classes, it means to say, teachers, this is what we call a reserved slot. So reserving of slots here in Acadsoc, teachers, it's actually very popular. All right. So for example, you have a student who really likes you and they are having a class with you every 8 o'clock in the evening. All right. Now there is already a possibility there that once you open your schedule for the next week, all of your 8 o'clock slots will be locked because the student already asked to reserve that slot for them. Okay. All right, great. Now, another thing, teachers, once that your student is already inside your class table, regardless, teachers, if their class is still next week, as long as their names are already on your class table, then you may already double click the slot and then check their class details. Okay. Now, teachers, it's advisable to check their class details ahead of time because there you will also see the book that they're using and you can review the book ahead of time so that at least you will be prepared when you start your class with them. Okay. All right. Now, once you double click the slot, then this is how their class details looks like. Okay. Now, teachers here on their class details, you will see the class ID. There's also their student ID, student Skype, student special request, student's learning intention, the class time, the tutoring tool or the classroom that you're going to use, the class remarks, and the problems in class. Now, just below the problems in class, if you scroll down your class details, there you will see the book that your student is using. Okay. All right. Now let's go back here in our tutoring tool. So if you remember earlier, I've mentioned that here in Acadsoc, we only use two teaching platforms, and those are ClassIn and a classroom. Okay. All right. Now, teachers, when it comes to a classroom, all you need to do, teachers, is to open the student's class details. And then on the tutoring tool, it will say a classroom. And there's going to be a button here that says open a classroom. All you need to do for you to be able to enter the student's classroom is to click that button, and then automatically you will be redirected to the A classroom of your student. Okay. All right. Now, teachers, remember that for our A classroom, it's already part of our tutor client. Or we can also say the other way around, the tutor client is already our A classroom. Okay. All right. Now, when it comes to class and teachers, before we have the same process, like you just open the class details, click the button open class in. However, this time it's already different, okay? So class in is not connected to our tutor client anymore. So what you need to do is before you start your classes or while you clock in, make sure that you've already logged in to your class in account. Okay. Now, don't worry, teachers. I'll send you the link for you to be able to download class in ahead of time. Okay. Now, once you're already logged in to your class in, then all you need to do, teachers, is to go to the calendar and find your classes there. Okay, so check your class table, look at the time on what time do you have a class in class, and then just go to the class in application and enter the classroom from there. Okay. All right, good. Now, once you're already inside both classrooms, a classroom or even class in, all right, each platform still require you to do an equipment check. So all you need to do is to follow the instructions for the equipment check. Let's say it will ask you to check on your sound, check on your camera, check on your microphone. Once you're done with all of that, everything is working well, then once you click on finish or enter, then you will be redirected to the main classroom. Clear? Okay, great. Now, also teachers, make sure that when you enter the students' classrooms, either class in or a classroom, you need to enter at least 2 minutes before. Why? Because teachers, again, you still need to do an equipment check for each platform. So give that a time, okay? All right. Now, another thing, if ever you remember earlier, I've given you an example when, if ever that your tutor client is not working, all right? So once that our tutor client is not opening both application and the browser version, it doesn't mean, teachers, that you cannot conduct your classes, okay? You can still enter your student's classroom, a classroom or class in, but this time you just need to do it manually, okay? For class in, same process, log into your class in account and then just go to calendar. There you will be able to see all of your class in classes and the time of these classes, okay? Now, once that you have a class in a classroom, then I also sent you the A classroom backup link. So all you need to do is to log into this web link, okay? Now, the logins that you're going to use for the A classroom web link is going to be the same as what you're using on your tutor client. Okay. However, for class and teachers, it's either your TM will give you the logins for class in, or when you open the student's class details, the login's going to show here as well. Okay. All right. Now let's go back to a classroom web link. So for a classroom web link, once you're already logged into this one, then this is what it will give you. Okay, so there you can still check all of your classes in a classroom and then just check the time once that it's already 5 minutes before the start of the class. Then the enter classroom is going to be highlighted blue. Then this time you can already join the classroom. Okay. All right. So same goes, teachers, for both class in and a classroom. Once you enter these platforms, you don't even have to upload the book because the book's going to be there as well. So all you need to do is to join these classrooms on time, and then you can already start teaching. Clear? Okay, great. Now, after that, teachers, once you're already done with your class, then don't forget to click on class over and leave your class remarks, okay? Now, when it comes to our class remarks, teachers, it doesn't really have to be long. Just make sure that it's going to be detailed, okay? Now, teachers, be mindful when it comes to our class remarks, because if a class doesn't have a class remark, then that class is not going to be paid. Okay. All right. Now, there are times that we don't have much time left to leave class remarks. For example, you've extended your class, and when you left the classroom, you already need to enter your next class or your next classroom. So, if that's the case, no worries, because when it comes to our class remarks, you will have until 12 midnight to fill this one out. Okay. So that is why teachers, once you're done with all of your classes, before you go to sleep, make sure to double check your class table and look for this red exclamation point. Okay. Now, once you see that one of your slot has a red exclamation point, it means to say, teachers, you were able to finish the class, but you were not able to leave your class remarks. Okay. So you need to go back and input your class remarks. Clear? Okay, great. Now, after that, teachers, we also have another part here, which is problems in class or the CS assistance. Now, teachers, remember that the CS assistance button will only appear once the class starts. For example, your class starts at 5 p.m. So, of course, the CS assistance will only appear once it's already 5 p.m. Okay? All right, now what is CS Assistance? Now, teachers, this is what you will click if ever you encounter any problems in class, okay? Now, when I say any, I mean any, okay? So once you click that, then it will open a box. There, teachers, you only have to choose what issue you are currently encountering. Is it about the student? Is it about your classroom or your teaching tools? Is it about the book or the material? You have problems with your connection, or let's say the student has a problem with their connection, or you need to cancel the class. Okay. So choose your issue, and then we have a message box here. There you can type the exact issue that you're currently encountering. Now, once you're done typing your message, then you click on submit and then just wait for the CS to give you an update. Okay. All right. Now, same goes teachers. If you're already inside your classroom, but the student is not yet there. So, if you're already waiting for 5 minutes inside the classroom and student is not yet there, then you already need to click on CS Assistance and then click on Student Issue. Student isn't showing up, and then just add a message that you're already there for 5 minutes, but the student is not yet showing up. Okay. Now, once you click on submit, then the CS will do a follow-up on the student. And as for you, teachers, you just stay inside the classroom and wait for the student. Okay. All right. Now, once that you're already waiting for 15 minutes from the start time of the class, let's say the class is at 5 and it's already 5:15, then another button will appear that says student absent. So if you're already waiting for the student for 15 minutes, you already have the option to mark the student as absent, and then you may leave the classroom. Okay. Yes. Now, remember, teachers, the process should be mark them as absent first and then leave the classroom. Okay. Do not leave the classroom first before marking them as absent, because the tutor client or your system will also mark you as left early. Clear? Okay, that's good. Now, just like what I said, if you just scroll down your class details, there you will see the book of your student. So if ever that you want to review the book ahead of time, then you just have to click this icon for you to be able to open the book as PDF. Okay. All right. Now, if ever that this icon is not working, then this is going to be your backup book. Okay. Now, this one here, if ever that when you're reviewing the book, you've noticed there's a lot of mistakes. Let's say there are some grammatical errors, there are some misspelled words, then you may also report the book so that the CS will have a look at it. Okay. All right. Now, teachers, once the book already has a check mark on it, then it means to say the student already used the book, or another teacher already finished discussing the book. Okay. Now, if the book is still highlighted yellow, then it means to say, teachers, this is the book that you're going to be using, and this is also the book that is inside your a classroom or classroom. Okay. All right. Now, teachers, do you have any questions regarding your um, regarding the books of the student, the class details, and of course, our class table? All right. So all right. So since we are already done discussing our class table, then we will move on to our third tab, which is our training center. Now, I believe all of you already know what is inside our training center, correct? Yes, so teachers, a training center, this is where you can find the courses that your HR asked you to finish. So you just have to go to self-study courses, and there you will find all of them, all right? Now, once you're done completing all the courses that they ask you to finish, then just go back to training overview and then take a screenshot of this too, and then send it to your HR, okay? All right. Now, by the way, teachers, even if you're already done doing the courses that your HR asked you, just take note that even if you're already teaching, even if you already have students, try to do some other courses here, okay? Because teachers, these courses will actually help you be more exposed to our students. So the more courses you finish, the more students you will have, okay? All right. Now let's move on to our fourth tab, which is our service fee tab. Now, if you check your Twitter client, it's either the browser or the application, you don't have this tab yet. Okay. Now, don't worry because once you open your classes, your TM will also update your service fee tab. Okay. Now, on this service fee tab, you can see your base service fee. So there's your hourly rate, valid working hours, completed classes, and of course, your additional bonus. Now, of course, we also have here the bonuses, but unfortunately for now, teachers, this completion bonus and the perfect attendance bonus is not yet being reoffered, okay? But no worries, because as far as I know, they're going to reoffer it very soon. We will just have to wait for their announcements, okay? All right. And now, of course, we also have here the enrollment bonus. So once that you're already handling trial classes, then you will be eligible to receive your enrollment bonus. And then, of course, we have the referral bonus. So just in case that Acadsoc will have a referral program and you were able to refer someone, then that is where you will be able to see your referral bonus. Now, by the way, teachers, when it comes to our service fee tab, this updates every day and it also refreshes every end of the month. So, for example, let's say you have classes tonight and you were able to complete all of those classes. So, you can already expect that the next day or tomorrow, there's already a change on your service fee tab. Okay. All right, now let's continue with our cat payment, or this is going to be your penalties, okay? The possible penalties that you will receive. Now, if ever that you are late for shift clock in over here, if you are not able to clock in on time, then you will be penalized. Same goes teachers if you are not able to enter your classroom on time, or let's say you left the classroom early. Now, when we say left the classroom early, it's not yet 25 minutes, but you already left your classroom. Okay. Now, for the amount of penalties, I'll be sending it through the chat box. So please check our chat box as well. Okay. All right. Now, when it comes to complaints, you will only receive a penalty once the complaint is already tagged as valid. Okay. Yes. However, once the complaint is invalid, then you don't have to worry. There will be no penalties for you. Okay. Now, when it comes to absences and cancellations, teachers, once that you cancel an unbooked slots using the autonomous cancellation, then there will be no penalties, okay? As long as it is unbooked or as long as there is still no student on the slot, then no penalties for that. However, teachers, the only time that you will receive a penalty is if ever that you canceled some of your booked slots, okay? Now, when we say booked slots, these are slots that already has a student, okay? All right. Now, again, teachers, for the amount of cancellation, please check the chat box. Now, there are times that your TM will also be able to help you waive some of these penalties, especially when it comes to absences and cancellations. Okay. Now, this will now depend on what is your reason for being absent or for canceling your classes. So, for example, you've canceled your classes, or let's say you were absent because of a medical emergency, life and death situation, or let's say natural disaster. Now, as long as you will be able to provide a proof, then your TM will help you waive those penalties. Okay. Yes. However, teachers, if your reason is loss of internet connection or let's say power interruption, unfortunately, your TM cannot help you with these penalties because it's part of our job to provide backups. Okay. However, if the loss of internet connection or let's say the power interruption happens suddenly, like it's a sudden internet problem or sudden power interruption, then your TM will help you with these penalties as long as you will provide a proof and also you will be able to continue with your other classes, okay? Because that is something that we cannot control, right? Okay. Now, of course, you will also see the summary of your salary here. Tax and fee teachers, we do not pay tax because we are not employees, we are independent contractors. However, under tax and fee, there you will see the total amount of penalties that you have received. Now, of course, we also have here the total service fee. So that's going to be the total amount of salary that you will receive for the certain cutoff. Okay. Now, as we all know, teachers, the payment method that we use right now is PayPal, and the releasing of salary is every first to third of the month. Now, usually they send it on the first, as long as the first falls on a weekday. Okay. All right, now let's move on to the fifth tab, which is our student comment tab. Now, teachers, this is the tab where you can see the comments or the ratings that your student left you, okay? Now, for example, you already received some ratings or some stars from your student, then this is how this page is going to look like. So you will also know which student gave you that rating or the stars, because there you will be able to see their class ID, how many stars did they give you, the date and time of your class with them. Okay. And of course, sometimes they also like to leave comments. Okay. So if ever that there is a comment on their stars, then you can read all of those because most of the time they are motivating. Okay. All right. Now, we also have here the student comment dynamics. So their teachers, you will see the total stars that you've already received. And once you move your mouse pointer to the circle, there you will see how many 5 stars you already have, how many 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, and 1 star. Okay. All right, now let's move on to our sixth tab, which is our complaint tab. Now, teachers, just in case that your student filed a complaint against you, then this is where you will see that complaint. Now, you will also know who is the student who filed the complaint, because there again, you will see their class ID. When did they file the complaint, the date and time of your class with them, and what type of complaint is that? And of course, you'll also see there the result of your TM's review. So is it going to be a valid complaint or is it going to be invalid? Okay. Now, also teachers, on this tab, we can see our late and leave early. So teachers, our tutor client here can automatically detect if ever you entered your classroom late or you left your classroom early, okay? Now, there are times that your student is the one requesting to leave the classroom early. So, for example, your student said, teacher, let's stop for now because I need to go or I need to go somewhere else. Okay, so now if your student requested to leave your classroom early, then that's fine. You're going to let them go. All right. But for you teachers, as much as possible, just stay inside the classroom and wait until your 25 minutes is over. Okay. Now, since you're just waiting for the time to finish, then you can already turn off your camera and mute your microphone. Okay. Now, once 25 minutes is done, then you can leave the classroom, click class over, and then leave your class remarks. Now, just make sure that on your class remarks, you will also include the request of the student, which is to leave the class early. Clear? All right, now let's move on to our last tab. Now, this tab, teachers, is our feedback tab. So this tab over here and this red thumbs up here, they are the same. Okay, the functions are the same. Now, teachers, this is where you will go just in case you're the one who wants to file a complaint, okay? So let's click on feedback, and there you just have to choose what type of complaint you have. So, for example, you want to complain about your salary. Let's say it's missing some numbers, those kind of problem. And then let's say you want to complain the penalties that you've received. You want to complain the system, Acadsoc teachers, students, manager, customer service, so on and so forth. Then this is where you will do it. So for example, we want to complain an Acadsoc teacher because we are angry at them. No, just kidding. So let's use this one, and then